Right behind me is one of the most extraordinary cities in 18th century Europe. And the crazy part, most people have never even heard of what happened here. I'm Oliver. We're in Mannheim, 1777. The best orchestra in the world plays here. Mozart is walking these exact streets right now, looking for his big break. And in just 1 year fray, this city loses absolutely everything. Walk with me.
Entering Mannheim through the Neckar Gate in 1777 feels immediately different from any other city in Europe. There are no winding medieval streets, no crooked lanes shaped by centuries of improvisation. The moment you step through the gate, the city reveals itself in straight lines. Streets stretch from block to block, crossing each other at perfect right angles. As far as the eye can see, this layout is not a new idea in 1777. It reaches back to the very founding of Mannheim in the early 17th century, when the civilian city and the fortress of Friedrichsburg were built according to a single, unified plan. The fortress is long gone, but the order it created never left. More than 170 years later, this precise grid still shapes every step taken through Mannheim. The blocks are nearly uniform in size. The people of Mannheim have long since started calling them their squares, even though the plots are not all perfectly square in shape. In 1777, they're still identified by numbers. The letter and number system, familiar today, belongs to a future that hasn't arrived yet. Moving through Mannheim feels different from moving through an older imperial city. No street bends around a medieval churchyard. No row of houses follows the ghost of a long-demolished wall. The original plan is still fully readable in the city around you. This is especially clear along the Great Axis. One of the main roads runs straight from the Neckar Gate, deep into the heart of the city. Further south, it meets the Planken, cutting across the city from east to west. And beyond that, the straight line continues without interruption until it reaches a palace. The residence doesn't sit squeezed between older buildings shaped by history. It closes the entire urban composition like a final statement, visible from the far end of the axis. The market square operates on a different logic entirely. Here, nobody is thinking about access to the prince or which musician might secure a court position. The market asks a simpler, more immediate question: what goes on the table today? 3 times a week, the food market fills the square. Anyone running a household comes here to buy. And for the city itself, every occupied stall is a source of income, since vendors pay for their spot. The market square is one of the oldest fixed points in Mannheim's urban plan. It was here before the palace shifted the city's center of gravity southward, but its appearance has changed considerably. Along the southern edge of the square, the town hall and the Church of St. Sebastian form a single connected complex, sharing one tower rising between them. On one side, the city administration meets. On the other, Mass is celebrated. The connection between the two is entirely deliberate. After Mannheim was destroyed in 1689, the original plan called for a town hall with a grain exchange on this site. The Prince-elected Johann Wilhelm changed that plan and ordered a Catholic parish church built alongside the town hall. For Mannheim, this was not a minor architectural decision. The city had long been shaped by Protestant immigrants. Now, the Catholic ruler was making his claim on the city visible in stone, placed right at the center of daily life, where no one could miss it. That morning, though, the attention of most people is directed at the market stalls regardless. Wagons unload their cargo. Food moves into baskets and bags. Conversations about prices mix easily with conversations about what happened in the city since yesterday. News travels fast at the market, but for longer discussions, Mannheim now has other places, built specifically for that purpose. From the market square, it takes only a few minutes to reach the Achenbach Coffee House, one of the most distinguished establishments of its kind in the city. Walking through its door means paying for more than coffee. In a royal residence city, information can determine whether someone secures a commission, reaches an influential official, or hears about an opening at court before anyone else does. Musicians come looking for connections to the court orchestra. Travelers need to know who to approach with their requests. Officials and merchants find out what's being discussed at the palace and what news has arrived from other parts of Europe. For the past 10 years, Mannheim has had its own newspaper to help move that information. The Mannheim Gazette appears several times a week, covering events at the electoral court and bringing political news into the squares. It's printed at the court and academic press. What once arrived in the city mainly through letters, messengers, and traveling strangers can now be printed, read, and passed from hand to hand. In late October 1777, a visitor arrives whose name today overshadows almost everything else connected to the city. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart travels to Mannheim on the 30th of October, accompanied by his mother. For anyone living after the fact, it's impossible to hear his name without the weight of everything that comes after. But for the court, in 1777, Mozart is a 21-year-old musician looking for a position. His previous successes guarantee him nothing. He must audition, build connections, and hope that something opens up for him at the Mannheim court. In the coffee house, it's already common knowledge where the young man from Salzburg has taken lodgings after his arrival, at the Felserhof Inn on the Paradeplatz. The square known today as the Paradeplatz carries a different name in November 1777. It's called the Alarmplatz, and its location explains why it ranks among the most important public spaces in Mannheim. Here, the Great Road from the Neckar Gate meets the Planken, which cuts across the city from east to west. The square isn't yet a landscaped urban garden. It remains largely open so that the garrison can assemble and form ranks when the alarm sounds. Soldiers appear here, not behind barracks walls, but in the middle of the daily flow of the resident city. Precisely because the space stays open, the court can display its order here in full public view. On the edge of the square stands the old warehouse building. Its scale makes clear that commerce in Mannheim has been given a representative setting. It makes the square not only a military assembly point, but also a center of the city's trade. At the center of the square rises the Gruppello Pyramid. The bronze monument was brought from Dusseldorf to Mannheim in 1743, and it marks a visible sign of electoral authority, exactly at the point where the most important streets of the city cross. Mozart's lodgings place him in an exceptionally well-connected address. From here, the homes of the court musicians, the central streets, and the palace are all within easy reach. But for a longer stay, the inn is expensive. Mozart and his mother will soon move to a cheaper private address. The Alarmplatz sits between two halves of Mannheim. To the north, Long Island Expressway, the Market Square, the coffee houses, the densely inhabited civic city. To the south, the same axis continues into an area increasingly shaped by the court. Crossing the square doesn't immediately leave the everyday life of the northern blocks behind, but the direction shifts. The street stays straight, while its destination grows steadily more visible. At the end of that line stand the palace. The facade of the Mannheim residence stretches across roughly 440 meters. Even the entrance courtyard is part of performance. Anyone arriving for an audience crosses open ground toward a facade that makes distance legible. Inside, the logic continues through antechambers, doors, and layers of access rights that determine how far any given visitor is permitted to go. Before Karl Theodor even appears, the palace has already communicated each visitor's rank at court. The residence functions simultaneously as workplace, collection, and stage. Karl Theodor has assembled paintings and books here. Parts of the court library have been open since 1763 to scholars on designated days. The court is meant to impress, not only through ceremony, but through the knowledge and artists gathered in Mannheim. It's music, however, that carries the city's name furthest. In the Knights Hall, the court orchestra performs. Leopold Mozart heard it 14 years earlier and described it as the finest orchestra in Germany. In 1777, that reputation remains fully intact. Around 75 musicians belong to the ensemble. What makes it famous above all is the precision with which it plays together as a single body. The foundation for that was laid by Johann Stamitz. Under his direction, the orchestra learned to control volume and dramatic tension with unusual exactness. The strings swell together. Quiet passages stay controlled. A sudden, full entry strikes the hall with complete force. The writer Christian Friedrich Daniel Schubart would later compare the effect to a thunderclap. The impact comes from the fact that every musician responds in the same instant. Each player must know precisely when to pull back, when to build, and when the full ensemble enters, together, shortly after his arrival, Mozart is introduced to Christian Cannabich, the director of instrumental music at court. Cannabich brings him into contact with the court musicians and their families. Mozart gives lessons to Cannabich's daughter, Rosa, writes a piano sonata for her, and earns some income through teaching. The permanent position he was hoping for does not come. Even so, he stays in Mannheim for more than 4 months, working in the musical environment that drew him here. The stay ends without an appointment, but the encounters, the orchestra, the experiences he gained, Mozart takes all of it with him when he leaves. Karl Theodor's court shapes Mannheim far beyond the palace facade. The Jesuit church, in 1777, is still nearly new, solemnly consecrated only 17 years earlier. Together with the adjacent college, it forms a large complex immediately beside the electoral residence. Its location speaks clearly about the former standing of the order. The Jesuits taught and preached in Mannheim. Their connection to the court was close. When the residents moved from Heidelberg to Mannheim in 1720, the order followed into the new capital. By 1777, though, that enclosed world already belongs to the past. In 1773, Pope Clement XIV dissolved the Society of Jesus. The church still stands. Services continue to take place inside it, but the community for which the church and college were built no longer exists in Mannheim. The break is almost invisible from the outside. The dome rises over the city as before. The facade appears complete. Inside, the decoration and altars still speak of the ambition with which the building was created. Just a few steps away, though, it becomes clear that the end of the order didn't bring an end to all the work of its former members. Behind the Jesuit church, an octagonal tower rises above the rooftops of Mannheim. This is where Christian Mayer works. The former Jesuit lived through the dissolution of his order. His astronomical work continues without interruption. In 1772, Karl Theodor approved the construction of a new observatory. Mayer had previously visited observatories in other European cities and formed precise ideas about what conditions he'd need in Mannheim. The investment is substantial. Around 70,000 guilders are spent on the building and its instruments. Precision equipment comes from London and Paris. The court doesn't want an observatory that merely looks modern on paper. Mayer is meant to be able to observe. In practice, in 1777, measurement and calculation are ongoing inside that tower. Christian Mayer studies the stars and works on a survey of the Palatinate. His results don't stay within the city walls. The Mannheim Observatory is part of a scientific exchange that reaches far beyond the residents. From above, the city can be taken in once more in a single view. The regular grid of the square spreads out below the tower. Along the southern edge, the long front of the palace moves through the cityscape. From this height, Mannheim in November 1777 looks like a city at the height of its time as a royal residence. But already, in the following year, Karl Theodor will inherit Bavaria and move his court to Munich. Many musicians from the famous court orchestra will go with him within a matter of months. Mannheim will lose the center around which the palace, the streets, and much of city life have been organized. The orchestra still plays for the Prince Elector. Mozart still hopes for a future in the city. The turning point is already close. Nobody here can see it yet.
In exactly 1 year from today, the court leaves, the orchestra disappears, and the city that felt like the center of the world goes quiet almost overnight.
That is what history really feels like. Not dates, not facts. Moments like this one. If that stayed with you saying, there are more journeys waiting. Don't miss them.